is not the vote to strike. However, they have the authority to call it. And that's extremely important. People should not underestimate the importance of this vote.
After more than 450 days without a contract, one SIU union voted to authorize a strike last night. And another hit on the polls today. Evening Edition starts now.
Live from the campus of Southern Illinois University Carbondale. Bringing you the news from around the world and across the river region. This is the Evening Edition.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Jessica Anderson.
And I'm Curtis Sheehan. The Faculty Association voted on their decision to authorize a strike today, a day after the Association of Civil Service did just that last night. Evening Edition Summer Luthi has more. Summer?
The rumors of strike are becoming more of a reality. Although we don't know when or if it will actually happen, unions are taking the next step towards what most members hope doesn't happen. It represents tenure and tenure-track employees here at SIU. Unions began negotiation of contracts in April of 2010, and since then, they say no significant progress has been made. That's why the groups are considering a strike.
Personally, I don't like to strike, but if I have to, I will.
If bargaining resumes and negotiating teams think progress is being made, then a strike may be avoided.
I always have said, if there is a will, there is a way. And however, it has to be mutual. And the Faculty Association has been always willing to participate in give and take, but has to be a two-way street. The administration has to do the same thing.
But if not, and the vote results with the majority yes, the earliest the department can call the strike is October 6th.
Like everybody, these things should not be taken lightly. We don't take it lightly. The association is very careful about what we do, because the effects can go beyond the university.
Many faculty association members stress that they don't want to strike, but they see little choice if there is no progress. The voting ended at 4 o'clock today, but we do not know yet the results. Back to you, Jessica.
Thanks, Summer. While one SIU union is determining whether to authorize a strike, another union granted that permission overwhelmingly last night. 80% of the Association of Civil Service Employees who voted to approve a strike authorization last night. Union leaders still hope to reach an agreement with SIU's administration soon. Two other unions will decide whether to authorize the right to strike later this week. And empty hallways and classrooms may become a commonplace around the SIUC campus if unions do decide to go on strike. Some students we talk to side with the unions, but even with the idea of no school, others do not.
Since the strike is going to happen, I feel like students should at least either get a refund for their education or the teachers need to come up with an agreement with the school so this strike won't happen.
Some teachers say that, it's too much money involved for them to actually go on strike. But then again, if they're teaching with no contract, they could just be fired, at any point in time.
Students are not the only individuals worried about a possible SIU faculty and civil service strike. Business owners are expecting a decrease in sales in response to any walkout. Tasha Kimbrough, owner of a local business, Exclusive Exposure, says that her business is at stake.
As far as a business owner, we would probably end up losing business because most of our business comes from the university.
Not only does Kimbrough expect a loss as a small business owner, she's also worried about her education being put on hold. The potential strike approaches as organizations continue the voting process. Well, Jessica, that summer weather just keeps coming back to us here in Carbondale.
Yeah, it does. I know I'm enjoying it. Jana Kennedy is in to let us know if the sun will stick around. Jana?
Yeah, it sure was a beautiful day today, and it has been the past couple of days, and it will continue to be that way. Tonight we'll see a low of 55 degrees, a little bit cooler than we've been seeing. In the morning we'll see 64 degrees around 9 a.m., and by midday we'll warm up to 82 degrees and nice warm weather. I'll let you know when we can expect to see some rain, if any, in just a few. Stay with us.
Thank you, Jana. The Legislature's Commission on Government Forecasting and Accountability studied Governor Pat Quinn's plan to close 7 state facilities, and Southern Illinoisans may not like the results. If passed, the plan will cost Chester more than $55 million in economic activity and Murfreesboro nearly $24 million. While Governor Quinn says only 1,900 jobs would be cut, the commission's study claims otherwise, claiming the figure is 2,600.
The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is suing Marion-based coal mining company on sex discrimination charges. The Mock Mining LLC is accused of not hiring any female workers since it opened 5 years ago. The lawsuit claims that many qualified women applied for jobs at Mock, but none were hired. Mock has declined to comment so far. The Employment Commission's Chicago district says women had the right to be considered on qualifications and merit. A recently completed audit shows that a Belleville airport continues to lose money after 13 years of being in the red. Mid-America St. Louis Airport had an operating loss of $11.9 million in 2010, which is 4.3% less than 2009. The airport has struggled to gain business since 1998 after losing passenger service in 2009. Promoters hope to establish Mid-America as an international Chicago cargo hub for businesses with China.
A West Frankfort woman is now facing a grand jury indictment accusing her in the death of her daughter. Mary Jocelyn pled not guilty on Tuesday to charges of first-degree murder, concealment of a homicide, and obstructing justice. She's accused in the July 19th death of Alexis Smothers, then hiding the girl's body in a basement crawl space. Jocelyn remains jailed in lieu of a $2 million bail. 8 months after being charged of shooting Arizona Representative Gabrielle Giffords, suspect Jared Loughner finally stood trial today.
Also, one state plans on moving its primary up to gain more influence in the GOP presidential nomination. You're watching Evening Edition.
If you're looking to buy farmland in Illinois, be prepared to spend a lot of money for it. The United States Department of Agriculture says Illinois farmland is selling for $5,800 an acre. This represents a near doubling of prices since 2004. Low confidence from investors and high demand for corn and soybeans are blamed for driving up the prices. Officials believe that if demand for crops continues to increase, land prices will continue to rise.
The U.S. Department of Energy announced today extra supplies of oil and decrease in demand. This news sent the price of crude oil down more than $1 per barrel to a cost of $83.34. Meanwhile, gas prices around the country fell nearly 1.5 cents, a national average of $3.46 per gallon.
Jared Loughner was in court today after an angry outburst got him kicked out of a competency hearing in May. Loughner is accused of the January 8th shooting in Tucson that killed 6 and injured 13, including United States Representative Gabrielle Giffords. The judge heard arguments today over whether Loughner needs 8 more months of psychological treatment before going to trial. Loughner has been in a Missouri prison for the last 4 months since he was initially found mentally unfit for trial.
According to a newly released poll, trust in the United States government has reached an all-time low. The telephone poll of more than 1,000 people showed that 15% of Americans trust the federal government to do what is right just about always or most of the time. 1 year ago, the same study showed 25% of Americans trusted the federal government. It should be noted, though, that the poll was taken during a standoff between Capitol Hill Republicans and Democrats that threatened to shut down the government.
After being the center of a presidential controversy in the 2000 elections, Florida is poised to cause a stir in the GOP presidential primaries. The state is expected to move its primary elections to January 31st. The move causes controversy as it starts the primary process a month earlier than leaders hoped. It would force other early primary states such as Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina to move their primaries to early or mid-January. The deadline for states to set their primary dates is this Saturday. The Florida Commission is set to vote Friday.
President Barack Obama gave his 3rd annual back-to-school speech at a Washington, D.C. high school today. He encountered students around the country to study hard and realize anything is possible. The president also talked about his school days and finally recalled his favorite subject, basketball.
If you promise not to tell anybody, I will let you in on a little secret. I was not always the very best student that I could be when I was in high school, and certainly not when I was in middle school.
Meanwhile, while the president said last week he was against a Palestinian state, Palestine is one step closer to achieving official UN membership. Lebanese Ambassador Noaf Salem, who was this month's president of the council, has forwarded Palestine's request to the Committee on New Admissions. The committee includes all 15 member states on the council. The request will be considered by the committee in a meeting on Friday. With the weekend only a couple days away, will it be cloudy like last weekend or sunny like today? Janet Kennedy is in next with your full River Region forecast.
But first, stocks were down on Wall Street today. Here are your closing numbers. Today is World Rabies Day, and officials with the Illinois Department of Public Health are spreading the word about the deadly disease. Steering clear of wild animals such as bats and vaccinating your pets are the best ways to steer clear of rabies. Public health officials encourage residents to keep their pet vaccinations up to date and seek medical attention for any pet or person exposed to a wild animal. 117 bats in Illinois tested positive for rabies in 2010.
So far, 72 people in 18 states have gotten sick from contaminated Rocky Ford cantaloupe since the end of July, and 13 have died. In today's Health Minute, Nita Sosa explains more about the outbreak and has tips on protecting yourself and your family.
Public health investigators have traced the outbreak to Rocky Ford cantaloupes grown at Jensen Farms in Colorado. Jensen Farms issued a voluntary recall earlier this month and said it remains committed to the highest levels of food safety. The Listeria bacteria is typically found in soil and water. Animals can also carry it. When people get sick from eating food contaminated with Listeria, the infection can lead to fever, muscle aches, and diarrhea. In severe cases, it can lead to convulsions and stillbirths. The people at greatest risk for contracting listeriosis are older adults, pregnant women, babies, and anyone with a weakened immune system. To limit your exposure to listeriosis, the CDC recommends that you avoid eating any Rocky Ford cantaloupes. If you're not sure where a cantaloupe was grown, check with your retailer. The CDC also recommends washing and drying melons before cutting them, washing your hands, knives, and cutting surfaces after preparing uncooked foods and consuming perishable foods as soon as possible. For today's Health Minute, I'm Nanette Sosa.
So far, at least 20 incidents of contaminated cantaloupe have been reported in Illinois.
And now the forecast for the River Region. This is your Evening Edition weather.
Well, we saw a beautiful day today, and we've seen beautiful days the other past couple of days, and we'll continue to see these sunny skies, and we'll continue to see these steady temperatures in the 60s and 70s, and we should have a very nice weekend and a dry weekend at that. But for right now, we're sitting at 75 degrees in Carbondale. The dew point is at 57. The humidity is at 54%, and our winds are coming from the northwest at a calm 9 miles per hour. Today we saw a high of 77 degrees, a low of 51. We saw just a little bit of rainfall today, and that puts our monthly precipitation at just over 6 inches. Now across the region, we're seeing mid-70s throughout the region. Belleville, Mount Vernon, and Marion are all at 73 degrees. Carbondale's at 75, and Cape Girardeau is at a hot 78 degrees. Now, if we take a look at our satellite, you can see that this system, the spiral system that we've seen for the past week, is starting to clear out of our region and move on to the east. Now, this region has brought us some rain, but it should leave us. Now, as you can see on our radar, there is absolutely nothing going on in the west, and that's good news for us. This will make us have some clear skies throughout the week. And for tonight, we'll continue to see those clear skies. Tonight, we'll see a low of 55 degrees with partly cloudy skies, winds coming from the southwest at 4 miles per hour. By tomorrow, we'll see a high of 82 degrees with sunny skies. And by tomorrow night, we'll see a low with clear skies, winds coming from the northwest at 12 miles per hour. Now, we can see that we'll have sunny skies across the board for all of this week and next week. Friday, we'll see a high of 70 degrees. On Saturday, we'll drop down to 62 degrees. Sunday as well will be in the 60s. But then by Monday and Tuesday, we'll get back into the 70s with sunny skies.
So, Janet, even though the sun's still going to be out, it's not going to be as hot this weekend.
Right.
Correct?
It's going to be hot tomorrow, and then by the weekend, we're going to see temperatures drop down just a little bit into the 60s. Still beautiful weather, though, and by next week, we'll be in the 70s again.
Okay. Thank you, Janet.
And the Cardinals are preparing for their biggest game of the year, and while their hopes for the playoffs are on the line tonight.
And one SIU golfer gets honored for their play at a tournament up in Edwardsville. Nicholas Gresham is in with more. Nick?
Well, it all comes down to this, the last day of the regular season, and the Cardinals have the chance to clinch their 8th postseason appearance in 12 years. See what all needs to happen for them to clinch a spot in October. along with highlights of last night's volleyball matchup between the two SIU schools. All that and more next in sports.
And now the latest scores and highlights from across the River region. This is Evening Edition Sports.
The Houston Astros, who were out of playoff contention about 3 months ago, now have a strong connection in allowing the Cardinals to still be in contention for the wild card spot. It also helps that the team that you're chasing has lost 7 of their last 9 games. Now the Astros allowed the Cardinals to rally from a 5-0 deficit as the Cardinals beat Houston 13-6, as St. Louis improves to 22-9 since late August. Now a Cardinals win and a Braves loss meant that dreams can come true, because Redbird fans, your team just came back from down 8.5 games to tying for the wild card spot. And that dream is now a reality, as a couple of old Astros helped shut down Atlanta, as Roy Oswalt pitched 6 scoreless innings, giving up only 3 hits. Then former Astro Hunter Pence hit a 2-run homer to left center as the Phillies win 7-1, giving the Braves their 4th straight loss. The Braves have lost 17 of their last 25 games. Now, after the game against the Phillies, Chipper Jones said, quote, "It's like we're living a bad dream, and I can see that as you blow a 8.5 game lead in only 27 days." And all of that sets up today. For the first time since June 19th, the Braves and the Cardinals are tied for the wild card spot. The Braves get the MLB's best record in the Phillies, while the Cardinals get the major's worst record in the Astros. The Cards will send Chris Carpenter to the hill down in Houston for a 6 o'clock pitch. Bad news is for Carpenter has not won in Houston since 2005, and the Cardinals likely will not have Matt Holliday or Rafael Furcal due to injuries, and face a pitcher in Brett Myers, who has won 4 straight starts. As for Atlanta, they send Tim Hudson to the hill against the Phillies at 7 o'clock. If the Braves and the Cardinals both win or lose, a 1-game playoff will decide things in St. Louis Thursday night. And Don Cooper took the helm as manager for the White Sox last game of the regular season versus the Blue Jays. Bottom 5th, Alexi Ramirez rips one down the third base line, putting Chicago up 2-1. But the Sox closed out their season in disappointing fashion, losing 3-2. A lot of questions will need to be answered on the South Side this year. Also, Ozzie Guillen was announced as the Marlins' new manager. As the Marlins' new manager, this is the Marlins' 4th manager since 2010. And the Cubs closed out the season at San Diego for a 7:30 pitch. And the ladies will also command the diamond tonight as the Saluki softball competes in their round-robin tournament at Charlotte West. The round-robin was set for Sunday but postponed due to rain. The Salukis currently lead John A. Logan 3-0 in the bottom of the 4th and will take on SIUE right after the game versus John A. Logan. SIU started the fall schedule 2 weeks ago with a pair of matchups, losing to UT Martin but turning around and beating Southeast Missouri State. They will head to Normal to finish the fall season October 1st and the 2nd in the Illinois Collegiate Softball Championships. And the SIU women's golf team is on a roll and are being noticed for it, as Alicia Matthews was named MVC Golfer of the Week for her performance at SIUE Intercollegiate Tournament down in Edwardsville. Matthews and the women's golf team came in first at the tournament, as it marks the first time SIU has won back-to-back tournaments since 1967, as the ladies took top honors last week at the Cardinal Classic. And SIU looks to head in the right direction for volleyball with a little non-conference play against SIU, with 2 schools from SIU in SIUC and SIUE Edwardsville, to mark the first time the Salukis and Cougars have faced off in volleyball. SIUC stormed off to taking the first 2 games behind Alicia Mays, who had a career-best 20 kills, but SIUE was not down and out as they rallied back to take the 3rd and 4th sets to force a Game 5, and that's where the Salukis showcased their talents as Ellie Bratton smacked home match point as the Salukis get a 5-set win and improve to 7-6 on the season. The Salukis will dive deep into conference play for the rest of the year as they welcome in Evansville on Friday night at Davies Gym.
So tonight, how do you think that Cardinals game is going to go? Do you think they're going to pull it off?
I think so. It's all, I mean, they're playing Houston, who has the worst record in the majors. So, yeah, and the Braves are getting the best team in the majors. So, everything is kind of leading towards St. Louis. So, I think St. Louis will pull this one out.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick.
Thrill seekers usually head west to rappel.
But today, a couple were on the top of an East Coast monument. Find out what they were doing up there.
Engineers scaled the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. today to check for damage from last month's earthquake. Crews rappelled down the monument to check for any flaws in the structure. The exterior assessment is expected to take a few weeks. The Park Service plans to come up with a timeline for when to reopen the monument to the public. Well, Janet, can we get a look at that 5-day weather forecast once more?
Sure. It's going to be a sunny week all across the board. On Friday, we're going to see highs in the mid-70s. And by Saturday and Sunday, we're going to cool down to the mid-60s. And then by Monday and Tuesday, we'll be back in the 70s again. But again, clear skies throughout the week and sunny skies. It's going to be a great week.
Thanks again, Jana.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jessica Anderson.
And I'm Curtis Sheehan. For Janet Kennedy, Nick Gresham, and everyone here at the Evening Edition, have a great night.